so. How's y'all's weeks?
Busy as always. I'm getting ready to go back to the grind, to the routine. So doing last minute errands, last minute things. I was pretty busy today, so but it's good. I like it.
That's good. What about you, Ragu?
It's been
Check.
it's been going. We're getting the
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
we're getting the gears going, I feel like. That's how I would describe it. This week was steady. It's been nice and steady with labor, and I have a goal for this month, and I'm trying to literally force it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and changing a few things,
Mm-hmm.
waking up a little bit more earlier, at least trying to, that snooze button. It's real nice.
Snooze button's nice.
That snooze button
It's
gets
real nice,
abused.
That 10 minutes that it takes to snooze again feels like another hour.
I
It does.
have like 3 back-to-back alarms, and I have the loud, annoying alarm.
Yeah.
And it's at 4:45, 5, and then 5:15. I'm like, all right, get
I
your
actually
ass
heard
in.
a way to like help combat that is you put your phone across the room, like you charge it across the room in another outlet next to your bed. So when it goes off, you have to get up. And
Forces
get it.
your ass to get up.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I should try
I've
that.
never tried it,
I
but
mean, it's a terrible idea.
It's
I don't
horrible.
like the sound of that. Like, I want to hit it.
It helps when you're able to go to sleep early, but
It's so difficult.
really, no, it's not. I think just putting it down in a way, putting the TV down in a way.
But even then, it's kind of hard because, like, for me, I'm naturally a night owl. No matter how hard I try to go to sleep early, I can't.
See,
Like,
that's how I am
I
too,
can
like,
lay down.
My mind just goes.
I can lay down, put my phone across the room, and I'll just lay there.
Mm-hmm.
Just lay there. I'll close my eyes, and then I'll be watching TV in my head, type of thing, like. But I'm thinking, and I'm like, just go to sleep, bro, and I can't. No matter how hard I try.
What happens with me, or what helps me, is waking up early, forcing yourself. Even if you went to bed late, let's just say you go to bed late at 1 a.m., all right? And you have to or you're trying to wake up at 5. Force yourself to get up. You force yourself to get up, and then after the whole day passes, and you got to force yourself to stay up too, because I usually crash around 9. That's when my crash hits. You force yourself to stay up all day, and then by the time nighttime comes, you're feeling it.
Avoid the naps, too.
Yeah.
Like with me, my body's so weird, right? I could do that, get up at 5 after if I go to sleep at 12, 1, whatever. Because if I have something to do next day, I'm gonna get up no matter what. I was like, I gotta do this, I gotta get up. But my body is so weird that I'll get my crash in the middle of the afternoon, right? And once I get over that crash, I'm wide awake again at night. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, what the heck?
Yeah, I can push through like that. That's how I have my second wind come, and once my second wind comes, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like I was up at, I only got 4 hours of sleep and I'm not tired. Like, what's wrong with this body, man?
Do y'all think there's a difference between, like, let's say, waking up at 10 but going to sleep at like 4, and then going to sleep at 9 and waking up at 5 or something like that? Do you think there's a big difference between the two?
I think it all just depends, of course, how you use your waking hours, So if you're productive at, let's just say you go to sleep at 1 in the morning and you don't wake up till 11 a.m., we'll say that. I think that's reasonable. And you're able to still be productive with that amount of sleep, with those hours, and I mean, why not? That's how I see those. But there's something about waking up before the sun rises. It sucks at first. I hate it. But once you actually are up and at it and it's already going, it feels good.
I feel like for me at least, I feel like I get 2 days in one. Because I have the early morning until afternoon, and then I don't wake up until the afternoon anyways. I'm an autopilot when I'm up in the morning early. I don't talk. I don't think. I don't even listen to anything. I'm just on autopilot. And then by afternoon, like after lunch, that's whenever I'm fully awake and I'm like, all right, time to start the day. Even though I've been up for 6 or 7 hours. Sorry.
First one of the
This is a
new.
habit, bro.
The big 2026.
Anyways, to get everything done.
It's funny too, because when you do wake up early and you get more than half your stuff done, you're like, dang, I got the rest of the day. What do I do now? When you do all your errands, that's a good thing about getting up in the morning. You can get a lot of your stuff done before the rest of the world gets up. But it's gonna be kind of hard now because I think we're getting a little cold front in, so it's gonna be
About
even
time,
more of
thank
a
God.
mental
But-
thing.
See, I'm more of like when the cold hits. I get into that Rocky mode, like up in the mountains, rushing, training. It's a little harder, but that's what makes the training better, you know. As opposed to the heat, I feel like the heat. I hate the heat. That's summer vibes. People are lazy, but whenever it's cold, it's like it's more of a challenge and it's fun.
What's weird lately is it's actually warmer at 5 in the morning than it is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as bad in the morning at all. Actually feels kind of
You know
good.
what?
Right now it's cold.
Yeah.
Outside at this time it's cold.
Yeah, it's windy.
I'm surprised it's not cold at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it's not
Like
that
that.
bad. I mean, it's chilly. Don't get it wrong, but it's not as bad as right now.
It's the wind
Mhm.
that makes it suck. I feel like the wind, if as long as it's not that bad, then I feel like that's good. As long as
How was your weekend or week?
a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of work, busy, late nights. Just is what it is as at this moment, but we're coming through the other side of the tunnel, slowly but surely. I don't know. We've had a lot of things pop up, a lot of unfortunate scenarios, but it is what it is. Powering through, and looking forward. Well, not looking forward, but as of right now, I'm trying to carry a deal through, and I'm not relying on it. I've learned that too many times not to rely on anything, but I'm just doing my best to try to push this through. And God willing, I'll have some good news on the 20th.
That's good. Is there like a trend where people tend to back out last minute?
I don't know if
Is
that's a
that-
trend, but it's certainly
common?
possible because anything can happen.
'Cause it's a big,
Anything can happen.
it's a big
It's a big
decision
purchase.
too.
It's an emotional purchase. It's an emotional decision. There's a lot of things that factor into it. Sometimes it's things that are not even in the buyer or seller's control. Some things are out of my control. My job is to do the best to hold my client's hands and make this as smooth as a process as possible, as hands off as a process as possible. But sometimes, you can't. Things are just out of your control, and the only thing you can do is just, okay, just it is what it is. We'll on to the next. On to the next. Stay positive and continue to advocate on the behalf of your clients and continue to stay on top of it and not let them go. But
Honestly, it doesn't even feel like a new year to me. It just feels like we're doing what we've been doing. There's nothing changed, honestly.
This month feels like December.
Yeah,
For me,
it
at
just
least.
feels like
bro, I told my
the
mom yesterday when I called her, I was like, "Yeah, you paid me last month," and I was like, "Yeah, before Thanksgiving." She was like, "What? I haven't paid you since." Well, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, it's January."
yeah. I was like,
Oh,
I
forgot.
I'm
I
like,
felt like it was December too.
Yeah.
my days are starting to like blend. I'm like, what? I keep forgetting it's 2026, and I'm like, hey, I'm still doing what I'm doing. Like we still working, whatever. And people are like, what? Some New Year's resolutions, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, some of y'all's New Year's resolutions needs to be to shut the f up, bro. No, I'm just kidding. That's me.
You're not kidding.
But I'm not kidding.
You're not kidding.
No. Ain't that right, Ragu?
I guess so, man.
That's got to be some people's new resolutions.
Nah, bro. As soon as I think it was Derek. He was the first one to send. I think it was him. I'm sure it was him. He was the first one to send a Happy New Year text to our group chat, right?
Mm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think Jeremy followed
After.
up after. And in my head, I'm like,
These dudes.
I don't know if I can say the word.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think you can say a lot of words. In
Okay,
your
okay,
vocab.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But in my head, you know what I'm thinking.
I think I
I'm
have
just
like
staring,
two words
I'm
in
staring
my
at
head.
phone. I'm staring at my phone like this, just.
Is this okay? I think
I'm
I got.
over here.
I think I got what you trying to say. Also, too, this is kind of random, but I don't know if you have ever like thought about going to the doctor and like getting a wellness check or like physical, even though we don't need to anymore. I did that recently. They took my urine, my blood, and everything, and told me if I was gonna die or not. But it's good because there's a lot of health problems that we found in my family within the past year or two, and so I was like, you know what, I gotta go. Even though I'm still young, it's early to go early, and just in case. if you're pre anything, you can catch it and stuff like that. So that's part of one of the really whether not even for anything serious. Just check your blood, check your your physical, your insides, your organs, testosterone, everything like that. Your STDs, Raju, for that. So I went recently, and I was kind of scared. Got my blood drawn and everything. There's like 3 people in the room. You're the only one there by yourself. Usually, last time I've been to the doctor, man, my mom was in there with me and talking to them, everything. She was the one answering all the questions.
Who's looking at your mom?
How
How old
you-
is he? Mom.
Are you
Oh, no.
sexually active? Am I? Stuff like that.
My
But
bad,
now you
dude.
got to
Let
be
me
in there
ask
on
you
your
that
own.
question. There we go.
Uh,
I don't get none.
yeah, so I don't have to get STD tested because I don't get none. But yeah, it feels good. It's something that I want to start doing. Were you gonna say something about that?
I think this has happened more often recently, but we're connecting. Me and you just connected with thinking it was December, right?
Yeah.
I just connected with this dude because I was thinking about going to the doctor to do a wellness check as well. So it's
What is it called when girls get like their periods lined
periods
up?
at the same time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what we're doing right here. We're getting synced.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm just
Blood brothers? I don't know.
Something. Eskimo bros.
you on your period, bro?
Perhaps.
You on your
Perchance.
period?
I don't think I'll get those to the end of the month, honestly. I've been in a good mood lately. So, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I feel like you're always in a good mood.
Yeah, I try to be. I just mind my business, and minding your business puts you in a good mood. Not getting mad over other people with problems. Or whatever.
All right. Anyways. Sorry, we had to catch up. It feels like I don't know why.
We saw each other last week.
We saw each other last week, but it feels like forever.
Haven't
He's
seen
a-
you since last year.
No, we saw you. I saw you. We saw you.
And it's just crazy because, like, we catch up every week. That's how much stuff happens in a week for us.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime.
Where are we at on?
I think we're on. It's either
Math?
13 or 14.
Oh, we're starting on Proverbs, right?
Yeah. I think it's 13. If I'm correct.
By the way, guys, I'm trying my phone this time. Trying to keep up with the
You
times.
said 13.
Yeah, I think it's 13. Proverbs chapter 13.
And also, too, one of the main reasons why I got it is because I wanted to start trying to get that verse of the day. I like that. That was cool. 13.
Yeah, I think 13. I believe so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Funny enough, these chapters,
Oh,
at least
yeah.
in my Bible, like all of them are the same. Like they all have the same title for mine. So I assume that means they literally talk about the same thing. It's like 6 or bro, I wasn't even trying to say it. I stopped myself. But it's like
Was it
7
intentional?
chapters that have the same title for each one. Yeah, chapter 13. I'll go ahead and start reading it. For those of
But-
y'all that are watching and want to join along, Proverbs chapter 13.
You say the prayer real quick. I think
Oh,
it's,
yeah. I think it's
Raju's
your-
turn.
Where's yours? Or?
I think
I think it's yours. Do we go like this or do we go like this?
We go like that.
Oh, so it's Raju's.
Yeah.
Raju. Take it away.
Dear Lord, we pray for you today, just to give you thanks, Lord, for another beautiful day, another beautiful podcast with great people around us and with great people watching us as well. Allow us to continue to share your word. Allow us to continue to share your knowledge that we gain through reading your books, Lord. We ask that you continue to look after us. We ask that you continue to look after our families, especially the ones that are going through health issues. And we just want to continue to praise you, Lord, in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the camera that way. We don't have to worry about it. Stop in the middle of the read. All right, here we go. Sorry. All right, chapter 13. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of a man's mouth he enjoys good, but The desire of the treacherous is violence. Desire of the treacherous is violence. Lips come to ruin. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the soul of the diligent is made fat. A righteous man hates falsehood, but a wicked man acts disgustingly and shamefully. Righteousness guards the one whose way is blameless, but wickedness subverts the sinner. There is one who pretends to be rich, but has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, but has great wealth. The ransom of a man's life is his wealth, but the poor hears no rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked goes out. Through insolence comes nothing but strife, but wisdom is with those who receive counsel. Wealth obtained by fraud dwindles, but the one who gathers by labor increases it. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. The one who despises the world will be in debt to it, but the one who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn aside from the snares of death. Good understanding produces favor, but the way of the treacherous is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool displays folly. A wicked messenger falls into adversity, but a faithful envoy brings healing. Poverty and shame will come to him who neglects discipline, but he who regards reproof will be honored. Desire realized is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to turn away from evil. He who walks with the wise man will be wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Adversity pursues sinners, but the righteous will be rewarded with prosperity. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Abundant food is in the fallow ground of the poor, but it is swept away by injustice. He who withholds his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him diligently. The righteous has enough to satisfy his appetite, but the stomach of the wicked is in need. That is Proverbs chapter 13. A lot to digest there.
There is.
First thing that I noticed, at least the first verse that came to mind whenever I read it, where was that? Where is that? There is one who pretends to be rich but has nothing.
Yeah, that one was
Another
good.
pretends to be poor but has great wealth.
That one was one of the ones I noticed here.
I feel like it could be pretty straightforward as far as what it's saying. But what about y'all? How do y'all interpret that, and how can y'all see that in y'all's own life?
I think what I'm thinking right now is kind of crazy how, once again, when you go and read the Word of God, it somehow connects to things that are happening in real life. And this is one of the points that hits. And I was actually listening to, I think it was an interview of TJR. And how I see this that connects to life in general is social media. I think social media is a whole front with making it seem like what you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this verse describes it perfectly for, I think it's majority of the people.
Or would you say maybe it's not necessarily all a facade, but it's only showing one side? Just the good.
Yeah,
Like the things
exactly.
that you think people are
Just showing one side.
Showing one side of the story.
And I think of it as pretends to be rich. And I don't say just with money, but exactly how you're describing, with where a lot of people on social media are just showing the good things, but they don't show the reality. Hey, I'm not as rich as I make it out to be on social media, or hey, I'm not living this kind of lifestyle, or I'm not doing this, I'm not this kind of person in reality. So
taking out a loan to pay groceries.
Yeah, exactly. I can agree with you. Social media is fake, but we've known that for a while. I think it's more of like a comparison thing. You know, like why is this person got 3 kids, but yet they have a house, car, and whatever. But little they know they're in debt. He's working his life away. You know, his wife's cheating on him. His family don't help him. It's not all, you know, black and white. What it portrays to be. You know, there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors, and I can kind of relate to the another pretends to be poor yet has great wealth. Not necessarily meaning money, but I'm very, you know, quiet, introverted to myself. If I'm comfortable with you, you'll see my real side, right? And like I said, on around Christmas, one of my cousins, he finally talked to me, and he was like, we had like a deep talk, and he was like, I never thought that I would hang out with you. I never thought that I'd get to, you know, see what makes you you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just real to myself. I'm humble, and I don't talk unless asked. That's one of my main things. I don't say it unless I'm asked. That's how I kind of take the pretend to be poor. Yeah, it's great world. Like, if someone were to ask me, like, some people will look at me, especially in the morning when I don't, you know, I'm not dressed. I'm just going to the gym, sweats, t-shirt, whatever, and they're not gonna ask me for gym advice. They're probably gonna ask somebody else. But little do they know, you know, we've been doing this since we were youngins. We might know a little something. Yeah, we're not jacked, but we might be able to help you. That's kind of how I take it. Whereas the guy that just barely started lifting or whatever, doing whatever he's doing, he's asking people, hey, pay me $20 and I'll give you all these secrets, all these meal plans when it's really not even that deep. But if they go to someone who's humble, poor, they'll be happy to give them information. Might not know as much, but it's, you know, you could take it how you want. It's better than nothing, you know, especially free information.
This also makes me think of what many people say. It's usually the quiet person that in the room that's the wealthiest, that's the wisest, that's the strongest, and I think this verse perfectly describes that those sayings as well.
Agreed. And like with relationships too, you could be, oh, I want a girlfriend. Especially from a girl's perspective, they talk about it a lot. Well, because it's happened to me personally. Why don't you do this? I wish you would buy the world for me and have all these flowers and horses and lights and someone singing a band. I'm like, hey, just because you see that on social media doesn't mean it's normal. It doesn't mean it's true. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's not. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. Maybe they planned it. Maybe it wasn't a surprise. So can't believe everything. And that's one thing too is girls compare their relationships with relationships that they see on social media
Hmm.
when it's not all it's portrayed to be.
And I think it's kind of how we've mentioned a lot of things that people, say they make a significant purchase, or maybe it is a relationship or something like that. They only do those things just to show it on social media. It's not because of, well, I genuinely care about this person, or it's not because I can afford this specific purchase. It's only so that I can post about it on social media.
Make
It's
people
like
jealous.
it's like yeah, it's like living a lie whenever you can't afford it, or you really don't want it. It's not something that you really, are excited about, but you're doing it because we care so much about how we're perceived in social media within our social groups. And it's funny because none of them really care about us. At the end of the day, we're all insecure in our own ways, and we're just showcasing our insecurities by saying, "Hey, everybody, look at me. I'm so great. My life is so great. My relationship's perfect. My money is." Everyone's a millionaire's guess, but I mean, everyone else is. You would think everyone has a lot of money, the way that, and then yeah, everyone's struggling
And
at the
everybody's
same time.
complaining.
Everyone's in debt, but online everyone's rich. So it's kind of, it's that weird dichotomy of living a lie only because it looks good on social media.
And then you get into that lie and you get even more in debt, even more in the hole because you got to keep up that lie
Mm-hmm.
for people to see instead of just owning it and
I,
being who
I
you
think
are.
I think if you're satisfied with living a life off of social media, right, and just enjoying the fruits of your labor, I think that would be more of a sign like, okay, yeah, he's probably pretty wealthy because he owns everything, but he don't ever show it. You wouldn't know it, basically. Kind of how it says right here. Another pretends to be poor but has great wealth. I think there's a lot of, it's being humble. I think when you know what you got and you know it's real, then it don't need to be said. Like, for example, I don't need to tell Raul that I love him. He's my brother. I got his back, right? Because what's known don't need to be said. It's the same for you, right? If I know that I have it like that, like let's say I'm good financially, I have a good relationship with somebody. I'm confident or whatever. There's no need for me to say it because why else would I say it other than to try to assure myself that I am that thing? I wouldn't need to convince you or to convince Raul like, hey, bro, I promise I love you. I love you. Like I got your back always. Like I wouldn't need to do that because what's known doesn't need to be said. I don't have to question it. I don't have to try to convince y'all that what's real.
Also, once you keep repeating and repeating and repeating it, it starts to lose its value. That's what I've come to learn as well. You keep on saying, for example, sorries. You say sorry, 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 and sorry over and over again, but continue to do the same thing. Then it's meaningless.
No, that's a good point because
The same thing with I love yous too.
Yeah, that's
Kinda
an
like with I
example.
love
I
you.
love yous, sorries. I don't know. It can be
It's like
multiple things.
I think it's also one thing that I want to try to do, especially whenever I have children, right? Is I don't want to make lies. I don't want to lie to them, even in the small things. Like if I were to say to my kid, "Hey, I promise we're gonna go get ice cream if you have good grades," and they get good grades, and then I just, oh, I can't do it today, or I can't do it tomorrow, I can't do it this week, let's push it back. Even though I made that promise to them, each time that I lie, each time that I tell them I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, my word loses value. And I think it goes back to that saying, like, your word is your bond, it's all you have. And the more that you lie, the more that you don't fulfill the promises, no matter how big or small they are, if you continue to say these things and not go through with it, you are losing whatever power your word has. And you're also losing that sort of authority that you have over your decisions, because if you continue to allow yourself to lie and lie about who you are, then it's going to be easier to keep doing that. But if you just stay on the path to where everything you say you're going to follow through, whenever you do fall and you do deviate from the path, you can recognize it right away and say, you know what, no, this is a one-time thing. It's rare that it happens, but I'm going to stay true to my path. Because what I've learned is the first time you lie, it's a little bit harder, but the more you lie, it gets a little easier to continue to lie. And you lie to yourself. I think you lie to yourself more than anybody else. You tell yourself, you know what? It can start off with a day, right? I'm gonna wake up early and go to the gym. You don't. You lie. Well, you know what? I'll make up for it later after work. You don't go. You lie. I'm gonna eat clean today. You eat bad. You lied. And then you make all these little promises to yourself, and then you get through the whole day, and you just lied. And then guess what? It's easier to repeat the next day, the next day, the next day, because you already allowed yourself to lie at the very start of your day, right? And I think that carries on over through your life. So I want it to be to where if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I just follow through. Even if it's a small promise to my kids that, hey, we're going to go get ice cream because you got good grades, or something like that.
That kind of reminds me too. It's kind of a tangent, but you say you're not gonna lie to your kids, right? What's your view on things that they're supposed to enjoy growing up, like with Santa Claus
Fuck Santa.
and the Easter Bunny and the
I
Tooth
was thinking
Fairy?
that.
You know, you knew where I was going with that. You knew where I was going with that. But like that's a lie in the grand scheme of things. But it's also like, damn, you're gonna. I've heard the argument you're gonna strip the joy from your children, and I was like, I don't know. I can see both sides, honestly. What was your opinion on that? Would you say no, Santa's not real when they're like when they're young, or would
I'd
you
probably
kind of?
not. I mean, because I was never told that Santa was real. I was never told that. I always
Did you
knew.
believe?
No, because
Yeah,
I
I don't
always
think
knew
we
it was my mom
ever.
and dad.
Yeah,
I
that's
always
true.
Did
knew
you
it was my mom
believe?
and dad, so I never believed in
No,
Santa.
I didn't believe in Santa.
I never
Uh,
believed in Santa, so it doesn't traumatize me as much to tell my kids that, hey, I'm buying these presents for y'all.
It was me, not Santa.
Appreciate me.
Thank you, Dad. Not
Yeah,
thank you, Santa.
Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom.
I'm not gonna lie. I believed. I
Yeah.
believed it, and I remember the exact moment it was exposed to me. We were. I don't even know how old I was. I was probably 9 at the time. Yeah, I was probably around 8, 9, and I asked Santa for a bike. I was like, man, I want a bike. That's what I want. Then I remember my brother calling me over. He was like, come here. And he was headed into my parents' room. And then we were just crawling over there. We were like, be quiet. Then we walk into the closet. And then I see this badass blue bike, bro. I just remember it. And then I'm like, damn. damn, Santa's not real. I'm looking at my brother. I'm like, damn.
Dang,
I'm like, bro,
traumatized.
I don't even want the bike.
Nah, I was
Yeah.
more mad. I was like, man, my parents been lying to me. I was like, man, my parents been lying to me. I was like,
See, I don't know.
I was just like, damn.
You told me the Easter bunny
Because I
was
don't think
real.
I ever believed in Santa either. I found out kind of quick at a young age, just because you would see different Santas out all these malls and all these stores. Like, I just thought I saw him. What's he doing over here? You know? Or even when we would do our celebration, we had a tradition where one of our trios would dress up as Santa
Mhm.
and show up on Christmas Eve. And he
See,
would
I was
talk.
never, I
See,
never
we-
experienced that.
We do that every Christmas.
Right, but then
I
it's
never
like, hey,
experienced
We
he's
just
that.
recently started that actually like 4 years ago.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cool tradition. But then you realize that he looks different every time, and his breath smells like alcohol. Like, you know, like there's something not right. And so I figured it out quick. I was like, okay, it's something fun to do
Some
though.
bullshit.
I always found my presents. I mean, we only had a 2-bedroom house, so it was really hard to hide presents from us.
Christmas Day came and I was just like, oh,
I think that's like a white thing.
on my
'Cause I think
bike.
white people have like places to hide their stuff.
Yeah,
They
like
have,
what
they're
was
the
Santa?
ones that had like the 3-4 bedroom homes and stuff like that. Me, I grew up in a 2-bedroom home. It was very small, so there was nowhere to hide presents.
You would find him eventually.
I find them quick, yeah. Not even intentionally, but I just opened my parents' closet.
I had to pretend I was all happy, like I didn't know what it was and shit. I was just
See,
like,
that's why-
oh,
That's why I said it was a tangent, but
oh,
it goes back to like
he
you don't
brought
want
me
to
a
lie to
bike.
your kids, like
Yeah.
you know. But
Speaking
It's-
of kids, though, speaking of kids, this is one thing that I believe wholeheartedly in my bones. He who withholds his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him diligently. I believe in discipline. I believe in spankings. I was spanked. I was whooped my entire life up until I was, got a little older, probably like 13 or 14 years old. And that's something that now people will say that's abuse, but I am not one of those. My kids will be beat. They will be hit with rods and staffs.
what verse is that?
That's verse 24. Disciplining your children is a sign of love. And I think too many parents, and look, I'm not a parent, so you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like too many parents are trying to be their kids' friends. And so their kids get used to being treated in that manner and everything goes their way. And as soon as life hits them and they start realizing, hey, nothing will go my way most of the time, then it's very hard. It's very hard, very humbling. They become spoiled, entitled. I don't believe in that. I believe in disciplining your kids and letting them know and correction and honor and knowing whose authority, like authoritative figures, respecting your elders, respecting your teachers. I believe in that. That's how I was raised. And I will not allow my children to run my household. I will run the household. My children will be subject to mine and their mothers, um, what we determine, our rules, and they will obey us as long as they live under our roof. As long as we support their lives, they will obey our rules. And if they deviate from our rules, correction comes. That correction comes. I think one subject that I wholeheartedly believe in is my house will serve the Lord, 100%. If my kid wants to try to go and do this other religion, well, you're not going to do it in my household. You're going to go to church. You're going to go to church every Sunday, and then if we have a Bible study, you're gonna attend the Bible study. I don't care if you don't like it or whatever.
You're gonna listen to the
household,
Confessions
you're gonna
podcast
listen
right
to the
now.
podcast,
Confessions
and one
podcast.
podcast in the world, and my house will serve the Lord. That's one thing that I won't negotiate. We're not negotiating going to church. We're not negotiating reading the Bible. We're not negotiating any of these things. My house will follow the Lord. Right? That's my duty as a father, not just for my sake, but for their sake as well. Like I want my children to go to heaven as well. I don't want my children to go to hell. And we know how the world is. They're going to be influenced by schools, by their friends, by society to go down the path of sin towards hell. That's what the whole world's going to be telling them to go that way. So I have to take it upon myself. Me and my wife are going to have to be hand in hand. Hey, we're going to agree. We are not going to allow our children, at least while they're in this household, they're going to know God. And they're going to be led down that path. They're going to know right and wrong. And they're going to be disciplined, well behaved children. That's how my children are going to be. And my parents or my family always gives me a hard time because they're like, just watch, Derek. As soon as you're going to have kids, I can't wait for you to have kids because you're just going to let them run all over you. I'm like, You don't know me.
You don't know. That's the those who are that one verse we just read. Those who are quiet are rich. They don't know. I'm just chilling. I'm humble.
Just
You
wait.
don't know. Just wait.
Just wait until I have kids. I guarantee you, my kids, they will know discipline. They will know discipline because I have kids. I guarantee you, these kids running around and they're terrible.
Only getting worse.
And
So that's
only
gonna
getting
get
worse.
harder
And it's all the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault.
because
And
it's
it starts
kids
with the
having
father. And
kids
it starts with the father not being the father figure and
or
taking
not being
authority.
present, especially
Yeah.
nowadays.
Not being present.
Single mothers
And then
are.
it's just like, bro, it's not my job to be your friend. It's not my job to be my child's friend. It's to be a parental figure, to teach them the ways so that they can go through this life that's going to be hard and difficult. But I try to give them the tools that they need to try to navigate life as best as possible. And then eventually they're going to go off on their own. And once they're grown adults, whatever, you do your own thing. I'm not taking care of you no more. Have fun. If you want to become an atheist after, so be it. That's between you and God. I did my part in raising you. At the end of the day, my obligation is going to be to my wife for the rest of my life.
That kind of reminds me of a story too. One of my cousins, growing up, his family was real Catholic, and his mom and dad were real Mexican, and they were always forcing him to go to his church on Sunday. And growing up, he slowly started hating it and hating it and hating it, and he eventually came out as atheist to his parents. Atheist, right? Who really knows? But that kind of became a conflict. So now his parents and him were fighting a lot. And then when he passed away from his accident, they gave him like a church service. And his girlfriend, or at the time, yeah, girlfriend, they were never married. They had a kid, and she kind of like told me, she was talking to me a lot. She said, I don't know if he would have wanted this. And I'm like, well, you knew how he was. You knew who he really was. He told us he was atheist, whatever, this and that. But at least it's for the comfort of his parents having to bury their kid, because they were real Catholic, so they gave him a Catholic burial service. And his girlfriend, his baby mama, said that she didn't know if he wanted it. So it kind of got me thinking, like, I wonder what happened to him in the afterlife. I hope he is where he's supposed to be.
Hope he found Christ.
Yeah, I hope there was something there, because it kind of made me feel some type of way, because yeah, she was saying he didn't want it, but his parents did it for him. Who really knows?
And at the end of the day, I mean, he passed away. I think at that point, I don't know if he would be, at least I would hope not. I can't speak on behalf of him.
Oh, that
right?
scared me.
Pretty sure we would still be good. I can't speak on behalf of him, but I believe that at the time of death, he'd be like, you know what? Whatever's best for my family, like that's what's important. Like how he feels after he's already passed away, I'm pretty sure he'd be like, you know what? Whatever comforts them the most. That's at least how I think. But as far as y'all know, if I go before y'all, what I want to be put in a boat, flowers, wooden boat, sent off with 2 coins on my eyes and a arch, a bow on fire. Y'all shoot the arrow into the wooden with flowers with 2 coins on my eyes, and then let me evaporate.
God forbid this ever happening, right? And hopefully it's me before you, right? God forbid, yeah. But I see the vision. I see the vision.
Is it like more of like
I see, I didn't. You didn't even have to say it.
Legal or not?
He didn't even have to say it. I was just like,
you already knew. I was like,
yeah,
that's what I want.
Better not miss one shot. Isn't that like a type of a tradition of some like
that was like Greek.
Vikings or
It's like
something? Greek, where they would send them off on the boat.
Vikings.
I thought.
Oh no, the Greeks would bury them above ground with coins over their eyes. So I'm taking two different cultures and mashing them together. The Vikings were the ones that would send them off in the wooden boat, because they believed they would fall to the edge of the earth. But the Greeks, they would bury them above ground with two coins for the ferryman.
That'd be cool.
For the ferryman as the journey through the underworld.
Huh.
I want to collide both. I think that's aura.
That is
cool.
aura.
That'd be a cool way to go out.
But
I could picture you being cremated and just spread, like your ashes spread a bunch of hoes and you just spread the fuck.
What do you think of me?
On a yacht in Miami, just spread his
No.
ashes.
But before we get out too far away from this topic,
yeah,
I had a quick thought.
Okay.
And I know with what Derek said, I completely agree 100%. We need to discipline our children. We need to, set them straight, basically. And my thought is, I know it may sound aggressive when we talk about these things, but I can only think of it when I do become a father, and just seeing other parents do it right and seeing how their kids turn out to be. I don't want that for my kids. You know, I want them well off, and especially when it comes to discipline, it's not just spanking or yelling at them. That's what majority of people I feel like would think. It is, in my opinion, showing them what a good man is, what a good leader is, what a good father is, what kind of man they should look for my daughters, what kind of possibilities that there is in life for both my children. And I can only think of when I do have a son, it it's cold out here in the real life, in the real world, in reality. It is difficult. Life is hard. It'll beat you down, and especially as a man, you got to keep on getting up. You got to build something. You got to build yourself. You got to become strong to get through moments like this. So when it comes to talking about discipline, it's not just spanking them, backhanding them, hey, or yelling at them. It's showing them what a good man is, what a good leader is, and um, I I'd like to hope that, being realistic, I'd like to hope, of course, that I never have to spank my children. They just know, because I just give them the death stare and they just know to calm the fuck down, right? But being realistic, with kids, especially young boys, they're explorers, especially the quote unquote hyper ones, that they got to be doing something. That's how kids are, though. That's how kids are.
The silver tooth ones.
Yeah.
You're talking about the silver
Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, he's got ADHD. No, bro, that's how kids are. They need to be doing something. They can't just sit down in a fucking classroom, read a fucking book. Like, no,
Or giving them an iPad and telling them to shut up.
Yeah, they need to be
Go
active. They
outside,
need to do some
climb
shit,
some trees.
right? But I know
Play
they're
some
gonna
sports.
I know they're gonna do some dumb shit that pisses me off, and I'm going to have to discipline them, right? But
I love you, son.
I do this because I love
I
you.
love you.
Hell no, I just. You know what I used to get hit with? A horsewhip, bro.
Dude, I got hit with anything my dad could
I
find.
used to get hit with a horsewhip. What the heck?
But we came out good. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
we
think
came
we
out
came
pretty
out
good, and
alright.
we were spanked and disciplined and yelled at. We didn't have gentle parenting. I don't know what that is
I
actually.
came to appreciate it, especially as I
Exactly.
especially as I look around at these younger kids.
I think you begin to also understand what
And also
good discipline is from your parents.
it kind of. I mean, I know the Bible says not to worry, but it is kind of concerning about. Where is it? Verse 22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Kind of has me thinking, well, we're working so hard to build our foundation, our kingdom, our empire, and to set generational wealth. All it's going to take is one of those, your kid or your grandkid to mess it all up, and you're back at step one. And I'm like, man, I'm so, like, you leave millions of dollars, or you leave your land, you leave whatever to your child, and your child blows it all off because they don't know what they're doing, or your grandkids blow it all off, and it's like, man, I did all that for that, especially as the generations get worse and more bad and less disciplined. They want to work. People want to work less hard, have things handed to them. We're gonna do our best so our children realize, like, hey, it's a lot of hard work to get to this point. But you never know all it's gonna take. Maybe they even get influenced by a girl. They fall in love, and I got all this and this and this, and she takes him for everything he has. And that's one of the things that is concerning. But at that point, it's gonna be out of your control because we're the first generation or the first group of out of our family to actually, like, hey, we're gonna do something big. And we do it big, and it only lasts for one generation. I'm like, man, that's gonna be pretty disappointing. But at that point, we would already have lived our life. So that's one of the
Once
things.
I'm gone with the Lord, it's like, you know what? As long as I did my best, took care of my parents, took care of my wife, and did my best to take care of my children, put them down the right path. That's all I can do. I just wish the best for my children.
Because
that they
that
fulfill
verse,
the promise that the God gave them,
and when it says a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, I'm not sure if this is true. I didn't fact check it, but if it is true, celebrities, like I've heard of Salman Cowell and Bill Gates, they're not leaving anything to their children. They're donating all their wealth toward charity. And people are like, well, if that was my kid, I would donate. Like, I would leave them and everything and everything. And their argument is they want their children to know the value of hard work that they're not going to get handed to them. So that's kind of why I kind of that verse caught my eye.
Well, I think anything can be an inheritance. I think even if it's just like that's their philosophy, and I don't know. For me, my children will definitely have an inheritance. That's a goal, right? To leave them something. That way, I don't leave them with debt. I don't leave my kids with debt. That's for sure. So, but it's a it's definitely a tough task, especially nowadays. And I think this is why it's so important, or one of the reasons why it's so important to make sure that you find a wife that is the one that's willing to follow the lead and say, you know what, dad says that my children will be disciplined, so she'll discipline them whenever you're gone working, and she'll make sure to not be that type of mother that's like, no, you can't touch my children or whatever.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's a bad dynamic right there.
And it's important because you have to be united as a family unit, especially as the mother and father, setting the tone of the household. Like, I can't be telling my children one thing and then my wife go and tell them the complete opposite. Now my kid's going to be confused. Like, we have to be on the same page when it comes to how we want to raise our children, and when it comes to discipline, when it comes to the rules that we set forth and the boundaries that we set forth for our household. It's not even just our kids that are in the household. Anybody that's in our household. If we have a family member that comes and stays at our house, well, while you're staying with us, this is what we do at our house. This is how things are run here, and making sure that you have that type of bond with your wife, where it's like, you know what, even if it's just us two, it's us two against the world. What we say is what we say, and we're gonna tackle this together as a unit, as one. And so that's why it's even more so important to find that type of wife, not the type of one that'll lead you astray and lead you to lose all the inheritance that your great grandfather left for you. You know.
Well, before we move on though to Matthew, what's real quick question? Uh, when your kids ask to do something, like say stay over, if they can go to the movies or the mall, and how y'all gonna handle that? Are you gonna be like, go ask your mom, and the mom's gonna be like, go ask your dad? Because we've been through that a few times where we'll ask our dad. Well, I've had friends and they would ask their dad if, hey, can so and so, can Jeremy stay over? And he'd be like, go ask your mom. He would go ask his mom, hey, can so and so stay over? Go ask your dad. Like. So who would you want to be asked? You, right? You would want to be asked if your kid was gonna ask if they could stay somewhere, or go to the movies, or go stay late somewhere.
I would think that in general, it would be a collective decision. Like, I would believe that if my wife was the only one home, my wife could answer that question,
You would trust her
knowing how I
Mhm.
would want to. Or it could be someone, hey, just give me a call, and we'll say, if I'm not answering, well, we'll wait until dad picks up the phone so we can make this decision. Especially when it comes to staying over, because you never know what happens at other people's houses.
Mhm.
I would prefer to it be solely family members, not strangers, not parents that I haven't met before, um, or like y'all. That's what I would prefer. Especially my daughter. My daughter will not be staying over at some stranger's house. I would have to know the parents and personally, and if anything, I'd be like, maybe y'all can stay over at my house, because I'm not gonna have. I don't want my daughter being anywhere. My
Right.
son, on the other hand, it's a little different. He can go hang out with his cousins, and then it's like his friends that I do know. I feel like it's easier because I hope to be involved in my son's life in a way where I can be like a coach or something like that. So I would naturally meet his friends and his dad,
And
friends'
parents
dads,
watching,
parents, and stuff
yeah.
like that. And of course, be involved in my daughter's life as well. But it's a little bit more difficult for me to do those things.
Yeah, because I'm not into cheerleading, and I'm
No,
not
I don't know
into.
nothing.
I'm not. I
Nothing
don't know
about that.
anything
I'll
about
show
tennis.
I'll show up to the events and cheer her on. But as far as being like a coach or being that involved to where I meet all the parents like that, it's a little different. So I don't know, because it's a crazy world out there, man. And I've heard a lot. There's a lot of stories out there about how the daughter went to go stay over at their friend's house, and then the mother was there, and the mother ended up, assaulting them sexually, and trying to get them drunk and exposing them to all these things. And, you know, the parents are like, they have no idea, and it's out of their control, because you have to completely and utterly trust the life of your children's hands in another person. And no one, just like how we know with anything else, no one's gonna protect our children and love our children like how we will. So that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult to trust anybody, you know. That's my perspective on it, though.
What about you?
I think of it as
Are you gonna be the type of like very strict that they can't stay, but they can stay with you?
I think of it similar to I can agree where it's a collective unit with my wife, of course. At the end of the day, when it comes to actually making a final decision or needing to make a decision, it'll be up to me. But the collective part of it with my wife is where we'll connect. She already just knows. She just knows me. She knows me and we can agree, right? I wouldn't want my daughter staying anywhere unless it's with family. Even then, I don't know. Even then. And then with my son, I mean, eventually they grow to a certain age where they want to go explore, of course, and you can't hide them forever from the world. I like to believe that I'll be a good enough leader, a good enough father, a good enough role model, inspiration to influence my kids into doing the right thing all the time, and knowing that they're better than the things that surround them. So I don't know, because I think of me when I'm young, and regardless of, for example, a son, regardless of, hey, you can't go out, or hey, don't do this, like, just naturally they're gonna want to go ahead and do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I hope that I'm able to inspire them and be a good enough leader to, I guess, influence them not to want those things, those sinful things. Because, yeah, they're fun. I get it. I understand. We were at that age, right? But is it worth it? And I think that's my job to show my kids um, the correct path,
Mm-hmm.
and they find more pleasure in doing these things than those things. So I'd like to believe that hopefully my influence is strong enough to inspire them into straying away from stuff like that.
Yeah, you just gotta be real with them.
Yeah.
Kind of like how my dad was. He told me everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I was little. I was like, I don't even know what that word means, but thank you. Like, because they grow up, they go into middle school, high school, and they're gonna go to the football games and stuff like that. And they're gonna have friends, and when those friends pull out a bag of weed and say, "Hey, hit this," you're gonna want your child to be like, "No, my dad said warn me about that already." You know.
I'd also like to hope, and I'd expect my kids to come to me for everything and anything, everything and anything, regardless of how bad it is, regardless of how good it is, for them to come to me always. And like I said, I think that's my part, my role, to be to where I need to be good enough for them to know that.
Yeah, that's a big part. Coming to you, even like, oh, my dad's gonna beat my ass.
Because sometimes it's difficult to have those conversations. It's hard to go and say, "Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, I fucked up."
Yeah,
That's hard. I think that's hard for everyone. So I think it's finding a fine line between. I think it's just everything with respect, really, to narrow it down. Just them having enough respect for me to know what not to do, what to do, and to be able to come to me.
No,
So
that's fair.
But at the end of the day, hey, if they come in and ask me, hey, can I go spend the night? No, you're not allowed.
No,
Never.
no. Get back in your cage. Get back in your cage.
Yeah.
It's 7
I don't
o'clock.
know.
It's bedtime.
Yeah, you got to be vetted. I got to know you. I got to know you more than you know you. To allow you to
take care of my kids.
Take responsibility of my child.
And especially nowadays. Back then, my dad and mom didn't even know where I was more than half the time. But they trusted me, and they thought I had a good head on my shoulders for the most part. But I could stay anywhere. But now it's like you can't let that happen no more.
That's how it is, man. I feel like you gotta. But that's part of it. Where it's like, damn.
Were you guys allowed? Were you guys allowed to like, hey, can I go spend the night at so and so's?
All the time.
Yeah, I would stay at Derek's. I've only stayed at a handful of people. But one thing too is like my dad would always say, or their parents would always say, hey, let me meet your your dad,
Mm.
or
I think
let
I
me,
only stayed at your house once.
Mhm.
or my dad would say, "Hey, let me meet their parents first."
No,
and he would
my
pull up.
parents were really strict on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me go spend the night at anyone's house besides my cousin Andre's, because we were best friends growing up. But besides that, I would ask to go spend the night with friends, and I'd get told straight up over and over and over again. I'm like, damn, and I'd be all sad and shit.
Yeah,
I stayed mainly with my cousins. Like all of my cousins, I stayed with them. But Tommy with like all of my cousins, I stayed with them. But Tommy with
Yeah,
9, 10,
we stay
11,
with each other a
we
lot.
stayed with each other all the time.
But our parents already knew each other like that too, so it
I
wasn't
mean,
that big of a
yeah,
deal.
we like our parents grew up with each other.
Y'all ever sneak out?
Hey, yo,
No.
we're alive right now.
No, I never snuck out.
You never snuck out?
I snuck out a lot.
I
I
never
did.
I did. I'm not gonna lie.
I took my mom's car too. So. I mean, I might as well say it. Mom already knows. She already knows.
Do you ever get scared of the like where it says, "Oh, whatever you did to your parents, your kids are gonna do to you, but worse."
Worse. I hear that a lot.
You ever get caught up? Like you got caught sneaking out? Or you
Uh,
got caught?
I know
I-
one specific story. That
Yeah.
you told
I have
me.
a few stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's one specific one that comes to mind.
I've
where you
also
snuck
gotten.
out,
I've
and
also like
it was
when I
funny.
got caught, it wasn't me leaving. It was me coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the door would be locked, or I would have to like wake them up to unlock the door or whatever. Wait until they got home. I was like, I already knew I'm busted because they know. But that's about as far as I've gotten caught. But yeah, I'm sure the story is pretty major. But we've learned, we've grown. So I'll tell you that story if you haven't heard after the live cuts
Yeah,
off.
after the live, after we shut offs.
Oh, you gotta be a good boy or
Gotta be a
what?
good boy.
Is it a
how
bad
do you-
story
how
or
do you-
what?
It's not a
Yeah,
bad story.
It's a funny story.
It's funny,
okay,
but
It's funny.
yeah. But I have gotten caught a lot. I
No,
was
our-
like I said, I'm not a bad. I'm horrible at being a bad person. I can't lie. Like I suck at lying. People see right through me when I'm lying. Like I get caught when I'm trying to sneak out. When I'm trying to like drink. Back then when I was trying to drink or smoke, I'd get caught because I'd smell like it. I was bad at being a bad person. So I just kind of like we're too grown to lie now. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'll pull out a Zin and put it in my mouth right in front of my mom now. It's in, but it's just part of the process.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on because we've been stuck.
We've been yapping.
We've been yapping a lot. I feel like we haven't had a chance to talk.
We haven't.
We've just been
We
so
haven't-
busy.
Us together, individual or like as a group, we haven't had a chance to talk. Which I'm sure we have plenty.
In a
of
way, we're
information-
catching up right now.
Yeah, we're catching up. We're friends first.
Yeah, friends first,
Friends first. All right.
No, we're men of God first.
Men of God first.
then friends,
And
Then
then we're
friends.
friends.
and then
right.
business partners.
We're on chapter 11 in Matthew.
Oh damn.
Chapter 11 in Matthew. For those that are still listening, thank you for listening. If you
What
have
verse?
made it this far, if you
Sorry
haven't
for
already,
the yap sesh.
subscribe if you haven't already. Number one podcast of Road Confessions. Subscribe. Road to 200 subscribers.
Let me read this. I want to read this. Let me
I
read this. Let me read this.
don't think this one's that long.
No, it's not. Chapter 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus and John the Baptist. After Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in the towns of Galilee. Is that how you pronounce it, right? Awesome. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciples to ask him, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowd about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed swayed by the wind? If not, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? No, those who wear fine clothes are in kings' palaces. Then what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of woman, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been subjected to violence, and violent people have been raiding it. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John, and if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. Whoever has ears, let them hear. To what can I compare this generation? They are children sitting in the marketplaces and calling out to others, we played the pipe for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, came neither eating nor drinking. And they say, he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking. And they say, here is a glutton and drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her deeds. Woe on unrepentant towns. Then Jesus began to denounce the towns in which most of his miracles had been performed, because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted to the heavens? No, you will go down to Hades. For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Sodom, it would have remained to this day. But I tell you that it will be more bearable for Sodom on the day of judgment than for you. At the time Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew chapter 11.
Dang.
I remember hearing that very last verse.
Yeah, that's the one that
Come
caught
to
my
me,
eye, too.
all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
Mm-hmm.
Or 27 too. No one knows the Father except through the Son.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that's going on here. I guess you could say it starts out with John the Baptist, who was in prison, and even he has his own doubts about if Jesus is the Messiah or not. And I think one thing that I like about Jesus's response is that he's not like, well, duh, like who does he think I am? Like, like kind of casting shame. Like, why is John the Baptist questioning me? Instead, he does the opposite. Instead, Jesus praises John the Baptist, saying that among those born of women, there has not been anyone greater than John the Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
He praises John the Baptist, and he says, "Look at what I have done," and then go back and report. He doesn't even say, "Yes, I am." He goes about it saying, "These are the prophecies that I have fulfilled. Go and report back and say, blessed is he who does not take offense at me." I think also he goes and he turns and he talks to the crowd, and this whole verse, this whole passage right here, is pretty much him just saying, all of these people that have seen Jesus commit all these miracles, but still choose to not believe, who still have doubt, they are worse off than those, one specifically that is Sodom, which, if you don't know, in the Old Testament, Sodom and Gomorrah is a city that God had um, burned to the ground because they were all sinful, committing, just committing the most atrocities, and they never repented against God, repented for God, even though God gave them chances to repent and follow Him. They chose to live their own sinful ways, and He burned the city down. to the ground. And he says, Sodom would be better off than y'all because at least they would have listened to me. Like that's kind of what he's giving very dramatic examples, saying that even the worst of those that have lived, if they would have seen what I've done, they would even have followed me, yet you still don't. You know? He's kind of getting on to them. But at the same time, he still says that people that do accept Jesus, they're the ones that will be given rest. They're the ones that will be able to take on this easy yoke and have light burden. That's what it says. And I don't know. I think there's a lot here, and I don't know. There's a lot here. I just want to hear what y'all think about this passage.
It was a little hard to interpret what he's trying to tell John the Baptist. First of all, I don't know if it's a bad question, but is John the Baptist one of the disciples, or who exactly
No,
is?
John the Baptist is the one that baptized Jesus. He's a prophet that came before Jesus. And he's the one that he's talking about. Behold, I send a messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way before you. He's the one that came before Jesus, that was like that Jesus says is the one that was born, that is greater than anyone. And so John the Baptist is like a revered prophet that Jesus highly respects. And that's who John the Baptist is.
Okay.
But he was imprisoned because he called out the Herod about an affair that he was having. So he got imprisoned. And so even he, being John the Baptist, and whenever, I don't know if you remember, but whenever Jesus was baptized, he's the one that, like, you saw God descending upon him like a dove and saying, behold, this is my son who I am well pleased. And so John the Baptist was the one there for all of that. And even John the Baptist said it would be like an honor. He didn't feel worthy of baptizing Jesus, but Jesus said, no, you should be the one to baptize me. So that's who John the Baptist is.
What's the reason he chose John the Baptist? Is there like, is it
He's just the.
here,
I think it's as simple as he was just the one. He was just the one. Yeah. But that's who John the Baptist is, and I mean Jesus is the one that's over here saying like he's the one that. But because he's suffering, right? Because he's the one that's being subjugated to this bad treatment, right? He's in prison. I think this is also another thing that it says, from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and violent men take it by force. And right before that, it says, yet the one who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Like it's he reveres John the Baptist. It's basically what we're getting at. And so he says John himself is Elijah who was to come. And for those of you that don't know, Elijah was a very powerful prophet in the Old Testament, that also had a very strong connection with God and did a lot of miracles. So a lot of what's coming here is referencing what the Old Testament, which may be why it may sound somewhat confusing, but that's what Jesus is talking about. Because it's kind of at the same time, Jesus references the Old Testament because he's also trying to make it a point that he is fulfilling the prophecies from the Old Testament.
Right, okay.
To prove that he's the Messiah to all these people.
So this is one of those ones where it's not so straightforward. You have to know a little bit of
you have to know context as to what he's referencing and who these people are. And but the reason why he's giving these messages because everyone still doubts that have seen these miracles.
Right, because on 18 it says, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon.
Yeah.
And the Son of Man came eating and drinking. He's done all these miracles, right? But they're saying, here is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.
You can't have it. You can't win. Yeah. Either way, the people, they raise the bar, or they have this different standard. They change it. It's like, it's funny enough because Jesus did walk on water, but it's that saying like, well, even if I walked on water, it's because y'all say I couldn't swim. It's always changing the goal, moving the goalposts.
Yeah, I've seen one too where if someone hated you and you saved a baby from being eaten by sharks, right?
Uh-huh.
They would say you like starving sharks or you hate sharks. And, you know, I
Yeah.
was what?
That's how that's how it was with Jesus, and that's how they were with John the Baptist as well. And so I think we can take inspiration from that and understanding that no matter how we move, there's always going to be people that are going to look at us sideways. But I think it's still staying staying disciplined to what Jesus has taught us and remembering the promises that and then I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Like these are promises for those that follow Jesus, and it also says, "All things have been handed over to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father, nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, and anyone whom the Son wills to reveal him." So even though he's getting on to the people in the cities, he's still saying for those that do believe, those who do follow, like this is this lifestyle that you will find peace, you will find rest, and least of those who is in the kingdom of heaven is still the most in the and or least of those are the ones that have the most promise to them, the most suffering you go through. And this is also where in reference to another chapter that we read um the other day. Was it, I don't know if it was last week or if it was the week before, but it says right here in 10 verse 22, you will be hated by all because of my name, but it is the one who has endured to the end who will be saved. So this is because, I mean, especially he's speaking to John here because John's going through it. He's in prison and for the wrong reasons, and he's going through it, and even he is doubting. Even he has an ounce of doubt in his mind, and Jesus isn't, casting shame or whatever, but he's saying, "Look at what I've done," and he praises him. He says, "You are the best that has walked the earth besides me. Like no other man is better than you." And so, but he's also reassuring that if you choose to follow me, I will give you rest. You will know the Father through me. And so, and for those of you that don't follow me, you're worse off than those who were damned to death in the Old Testament. You're worse than those who caused the world to flood, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he flooded the world and
Yeah,
cleared the.
it's essentially what with Sodom and Gomorrah. That was like a version of that. Was he had to cleanse because of how rebellious and how sinful they were. He says they are better off than y'all for not believing me.
Dang,
That's what he's saying.
that's
He's
powerful right
using very
there.
extreme examples, very extreme, but
That makes a lot more sense now.
he's trying to get a point across. You know, so
Well, thank you for walking me through that. Kind of, it was a little confusing at first, but now that we talked about and explained it, it makes a lot more sense. That's the point of Confessions podcast, number one podcast in the world.
podcast in the world.
That because when it finally clicked, where dang people back then were better off than people today that don't believe and don't follow, and it just kind of makes you think, what is in store then if I'm not gonna choose the good path?
Because we're all exposed to Jesus now. It's like now that you know, when you make an active choice to ignore it, you're worse off than those who lived in the past who didn't have that opportunity to know.
Who thought he was a demon because he
Yeah.
was performing all these,
Yeah.
in their eyes, black magic. Like,
Yeah.
how's this guy walking
But
on
then
water?
again,
How is he?
also that's also why you need to know the word, because then again, if you knew the word, you would know that the Messiah is the one that's going to come and perform these miracles. But for those people who didn't read the word, they were led astray, and they were thought to believe that, oh, this is a demon because he's doing all these things. No, he's fulfilling these prophecies, and I think that's why it's also important to know the fact that you have to know your word. You have to know, because now, if you don't, ignorance is bliss for so far, but at some point you're gonna have to either accept or reject the idea that Jesus Christ is your savior or not, and he's the Son of God. You're gonna you're gonna have to make a choice to pick up your cross daily. But it makes sense. If now you know between right and wrong, so if you choose wrong, then you're worse off than the one who did it. It makes total sense.
It does. It clicked together. You have any thoughts, Ragu?
I just think of really this like this is a story of Jesus doing what he does, you know, and not only can we take inspiration, but we can take lessons from this. One, Derek, inspiration from Jesus, even though he's already shown and he's proven time after time, people are still going to continue to question, you know. So, um, and I think in this chapter right here, it showed how Jesus kept on moving forward in despite of that, and I think that's where we can take a really good inspiration from, including even from John the Baptist. And in a way, this story, how I see it, is I feel like in a way Jesus already knew. I don't know if Jeremy asked this question, but just kind of wondering, did Jesus just choose John the Baptist? He just knew it was going to be him, and I don't know if that's true, if that's known or not.
Well, John came before Jesus.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
I wouldn't know if he was chosen or not
but Jesus chose. He was like, I want him, right?
to baptize me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he wanted John the Baptist to baptize him, and because he's talking about John the Baptist right here in verse 10. Behold, I send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you. He's talking about John the Baptist being the one that prepares the way for Jesus
was John the Baptist mentioned in the Old Testament?
in the Old Testament. Not to my knowledge.
Because I guess that leads me to question, like, how did they come across each other? How did they know about each other?
So, well, one, there was signs of the Messiah that everyone knew to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
And this right here, this statement right here, this is a callback to the Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
where, behold, I send a messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way before you. That's a callback to the Old Testament, saying there will be someone that comes before Jesus that's going to be the one that's going to kind of guide y'all towards who Jesus is going to be. And then whenever Jesus comes to get baptized and he's the Messiah, that's whenever John the Baptist automatically recognizes him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Messiah. And Jesus recognizes John. And he asked John to baptize him.
So
it was prophesied in the Old Testament, and so whenever they came together, they both knew. Of course, Jesus, because he's God.
That's what I was thinking. That in a way, maybe they just kind of came across each other, but I didn't know about on John the Baptist's behalf. But I was thinking more on the behalf of Jesus, that he already kind of knew. He was like, we're gonna connect. This guy's gonna baptize me. He knew, and I think this story basically shows that, because I don't know where they traveled to, but he traveled to where John the Baptist is, and he called out for him, right? And he just went on about doing what he needed to do, you know. So
he pretty much said, "Look at my work."
Yeah.
Look at my work.
He's like, look what I've been doing. This is what I've done. It's already proven.
Go report back.
And then in a way, he just continued to do what he did in this town, wherever they're located at. And a lesson that we can also take is just being something we already kind of touched based on. Repent. Repent and believe, you know. He's already proven to us. Jesus already proved to us. God already proves to us. They continue to prove to us every day, especially for me. And if you don't repent, you know, woe to you. And I think that's a good lesson to learn, and the only way to heaven is through through Jesus, through the Son.
And I think even though, like, maybe the Messiah didn't exactly look how they thought he was going to look, because it mentions it here where it says, a man dressed in soft clothing. Those who wear soft clothing are in kings' palaces. Like, they expected the Messiah to come and look like this saving figure, right?
Just
But-
mega Chad or
yeah,
whatever.
and he's the son of a carpenter.
Commander of a Greek army, and he's
Kind of how I mentioned in Proverbs. He was wealthy, but he presented himself as poor.
Mhm.
That's how Jesus presented himself.
Yeah.
So he didn't look like he would be the Messiah. But at the same time, even though he may not have looked the part, if you looked at what his miracles were, he fulfilled all the prophecies. He fulfilled everything that in the Old Testament that was set out before that he had built for over however many hundreds of years, right? He fulfilled every single one of those prophecies. And if you paid attention, if you read your word, if you were knowledgeable, you would recognize it and say, "Hey, this is the signs. This is what God had prophesied from the very beginning, that there would be, a son of man that would come down to save us." And if you paid attention, if you looked at Christ, you looked at his work, you would know. And so, but yet, even even at some moment, a moment of weakness, even John the Baptist, who knew, even he had doubt at a moment. And same thing with the disciples. They had doubt. It just goes to show how hard it is to accept the fact that we are saved through Christ. It's so difficult to accept that fact because of how we are and the mistakes that we make. And it's hard to process how perfect Jesus was and all these miracles that he did that defy all logic, defy all physics, right? But it's having that faith and understanding that God sent him for us. And it says right here, "Come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." It's a powerful scripture. It's a
It
powerful
is.
scripture. But any closing remarks before we finish?
Is it bad to doubt? What does the Bible say about that? What does Jesus say about that?
This is what Jesus says right here. Listen right here. So John is having a moment of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a weak moment. But what does Jesus do? He doesn't shame him. He says, "Tell him, look at what I've done." And then what does he go to do? He says, "Among those born of women, there has not arisen anyone greater than John the Baptist." He praises him. He praises him even though John had doubt, had a moment of weakness. He said, "Just look at what I've done. Look at my works." And then the people were like, they looked at John sideways because he's in prison, right? And he says, what does he do? He praises him. He uplifts him. It's natural to have doubt, very natural. But I think it still comes down to, in those moments of doubt, how are you going to approach it? Are you going to, what does the word say? What does God say about what the Messiah looks like?
And that leads me to something I was just listening to earlier. They changed the perception of doubt because a lot of people look at doubt as a negative thing, but when you doubt, you tend to question, like, hey, is this true? Is this real? Which kind of leads to what you were saying. If you choose to question, if you choose to wonder, that leads you more towards that. For example, God. And I think it's a good perception. It's a good perception of doubt. Changing that thing into a positive rather than a negative.
Yeah, because I think it's very natural to. I think it's like any relationship, right? Any relationship you have with someone, at some point there's like a struggle, because when you're in a relationship with someone, even if it's a friendship or something like that, it's not always smooth sailing because we have our different perspectives and we have our different beliefs and stuff like that. But at the same time, when you truly come to know Jesus, right, and you truly come to know a friend, even in those moments of doubt, you still know, you know what, he's still there. Like, he's still my friend. He's still there for me. He still loves me, even in the moments of doubt. And it's those moments whenever hard times come that helps build that relationship even stronger. It's like, imagine you're in a relationship and you go through a very hard time, or you're at a point in your marriage where things are very difficult, and every day is like one day at a time. And then you come on the other side of that, and now you're stronger than ever. It's that type of resistance that comes that helps forge relationships, and it helps also prove that it's real, because it's very easy going whenever, oh man, everything's perfect, there's no arguments, life's going great. But whenever life comes and it tests you, it pushes you to your limits, and you start to have those moments of doubt, are you going to give into it? Are you going to turn your back on God? Or are you going to say, you know what? Even in this moment of doubt, God, I'm still going to turn to you. Show me what the answers are. And guess what? Jesus shows, he tells John, these are the answers. This is what it is. And guess what? Right after that, John, you know what? You're right, God. You're right, Jesus. My fault. My bad. I should have never doubted. But Jesus doesn't come at him with, with rage, or doesn't come with him sideways. He comes at him with love, and he comes with him like, look, this is the work that I've done. Look at the Old Testament. Look what I've done. I've shown you my works. I've been there for you, Jeremy. All these times that we've had these moments where we've gone apart, we've come together. These times where I've had struggled in my life, you've struggled in your life. You've struggled in your life. We've always been there for one another. Look at the work. That's fine. But look at the work that I've done. And that's all I can do, is show you that. I can show you what I've done up until this moment. And then you can make your choice. Right? It's natural. It's human to doubt. That's fine. It's just like any other relationship. You got to really think about what this walk with Christ is. It's just us having a relationship with God. It's a two-way street. But every relationship has that tension. Every relationship has those moments where it goes down. Every relationship has those moments of doubt. It's not about the doubt. It's just, how are you going to let it define your relationship? Are you going to go past it and grow stronger because of it? Or are you going to let that doubt define your relationship, and now you're going to fall apart and you're going to turn your back on one another? So that's how I see doubt. Doubt is just another obstacle, but it's an opportunity to forge your relationship even stronger.
Interesting.
I feel like that's with everything in life.
Would you say doubt's similar to like when he tells us, "Do not be afraid, do not fear, do not worry"?
Yeah.
Would you kind of categorize?
Because
do
he
not
knows
doubt?
we're going to doubt. He knows that we're going to be afraid. He knows that we're going to have these moments where we look at ourselves and we're weak, and we're like, we're not good enough. Why would God love me? I keep going. It's one thing after another. One thing after another. God, you said this. God, you said that. You said I would prosper. You said that, I would receive all these blessings. But it's one thing after another, after another, after another. And it's natural to doubt. It's very natural. But at the same time, the harder the challenge, anything in life, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward.
You have a choice whether to take the doubt, learn from it, grow from it, and watch it become better, or you become better, or you turn away and you walk away. Choice is yours.
You turn your back, and then it says right here, and just how Jesus warns us, you are worse off than those who were the worst in human history. You are worse off than those on the day of judgment.
I like this one because I went in not really getting it, kind of trying to process it, and came out with a good message, with the good finished puzzle, and it's connecting even from the Old Testament, even though I haven't read the Old Testament like that, but it's kind of like bringing some stuff back, some information back from then with John the Baptist, and then still with the past few. So this one was a good one. I like this one because it wasn't so straightforward. You have to actually talk about it, have some context, look through it, and knowledge. But we came out with it though. Came out with the puzzle.
But all right, thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of the Convention Podcast, the #1 podcast in the world. We hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, subscribe. Road to 200 subscribers. We will catch y'all next week with another episode. Episode 40. That'll be the next one.
Let's go.
I know.
We're more than double our last one. Our last attempt from the original.
Well, we're continuing to grow, and we hope y'all are too. So we'll catch